Welcome to the pulse of our industry.
PALSCON speaks.
Service contracting stories.
People, policy, practice. Building the standard with every single stride. Integrity is flowing like a rising tide. We bridge the gap where the workforce meets the aim. PALSCON
Is the name.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of PALSCON Speaks, the podcast. I am Paulie Florendo. I'll be your host for today, and thank you for joining us wherever you may be, whether you're watching from your office, at home, or on the go. For today's episode, we're diving into a topic that has been widely discussed over the years and continues to play an important role in the Philippine labor and business landscape. Our episode is entitled Beyond Compliance, the Legality, Value, and Nation-Building Role of Legitimate Service Contractors. When people hear the term service contracting, many immediately think about compliance, regulations, and labor laws. But beyond the legal framework, there is a bigger conversation that needs to happen. How does legitimate service contracting create opportunities for workers? How does it help business remain productive and competitive? And what role does it play in supporting economic growth and nation building? Today, we'll explore these questions and hear valuable insights from one of the respected voices in the labor and employment sector. In today's episode, we'll discuss the realities, challenges, and opportunities surrounding legitimate service contracting and why understanding its role is important than ever. Let's meet our guest. Our guest today is a distinguished labor and employment practitioner, business leader, and advocate of responsible employment, compliance, and industry development. He is also the president and CEO of ADM Partners, Data Privacy, and Consulting Incorporated, where he provides strategic guidance on labor relations, employment regulations, governance, data privacy, and organizational development. Beyond his professional practice, he is also a founding director of Philippine AI Business Association. He currently serves as chairman of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Quezon City, and regional governor for PCCI NCR Central Sector for 2026 and 2027. Through his leadership in both the legal and business sectors, he continues to contribute to meaningful discussions on employment, entrepreneurship, regulatory compliance, workforce development, and economic growth. His insights provide a unique perspective on how employers, workers, government, and industry stakeholders can work together to create productive, compliant, and sustainable workplaces. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in welcoming our guest for today's episode, none other than Attorney Arnel Mateo. Attorney Mateo or Arnel, welcome to PALSCON Speaks.
Thank you, Paulie, and good morning, good day, good afternoon sa lahat ng nanonood. And thank you, PALSCONs, for having me here.
Thank you for joining us today. I think we have to begin what's more important. No?
Mm-hmm.
Let's try to delve on the critical questions that we need to understand from a perspective of, I would say, a luminary in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
To start our discussion, let us establish a clear understanding of legitimate service contracting from a legal and regulatory perspective.
Mm-hmm. I think we have to understand the important distinction between service contracting and labor-only contracting. And for businesses, we have to learn that when we speak of legitimate service contracting, it's a legal model. It's a legal arrangement where a contractor conducts his own business and provides service to a principal through his own employees, resources, and supervision. And On the other hand, we have what we call labor-only contracting. So based from that definition, if a certain entity or certain person just contracts person, recruits person, and supplies that manpower to a principal, it could be considered an illegal activity or a labor-only contracting. So when we speak of service contracting, for it to be legal, it's very important that you have to have substantial capital or investment. So when we speak of substantial capital, syempre dapat malinaw na meron kang kakayahan to run your business. And according to our labor issuances, it has to be a minimum of 5 million pesos. And or investment in the form of tools, equipment, systems, and that would justify and would serve as an evidence that you can conduct your own business. Second is what we call control and supervision. So for you to be a legitimate service contractor, you need to have the power to supervise, the power to dismiss, the power to discipline the employees. So hindi pwede na you deploy an employee, you deploy employees, then si principal, siya bahala doon, no? So hindi pwede yung situation where upon deployment, later on si principal papagalitan niya, i-dismiss niya, bigyan niya ng notice to explain. So that's not allowed, no? So control and supervision should be with the contractor, the service contractor. And yun, dapat independent business ka. So hindi pwedeng, minsan red flag yan na isa lang yung kliyente mo, no? Kasi parang lumalabas, hindi ka talaga running an independent business where you have several clients and where you deploy several employees. So, yan ang distinction niya. So, pag labor-only contracting in law, that's considered illegal. So, wala kang substantial capital, you don't have control and supervision, and ang lumalabas, you only deploy employees, you only deploy manpower. Kaya tayo, medyo allergic tayo when we say manpower, no? Kasi as service contractors, we're not just supplying manpower, we're providing services.
Very nice, no? Well explained, sir. So that means that there are, I would say, key elements that you have highlighted.
Yes.
For, of course, for the reference of the viewers, let us just point out these 5 things that you have mentioned, no? Especially on the supervision and control aspect, no? So number 1, you mentioned hiring. So that is the recruitment exercise. So I'd like to, of course, give emphasis lang on these key elements, no, in reference to what you have shared, no? Just for the appreciation of our viewers, no? So hiring, so that's recruitment and employment. Then firing, so this is the power to dismiss, no? Then of course discipline is part of that, no? And then also payment of wages, I believe, no? So dapat tayo po ay may kakayahang magpapasweldo because of the element of substantial capitalization.
So actually, when we do your independent business, kasama yun sa trabaho mo. Ikaw talaga magpapasweldo.
Oo, kasi yung iba, meron ng pangyayari or instances that tayo ay sinasabing ano lang, was this yung pass on or other words, yung tawag nila doon ay back-to-back arrangement. That should not be the case. In the principle of the 0174, no, which is actually the law that we are discussing right now, dapat po ay meron tayong kakayahan na magbayad ng sweldo ng mga taong dinideploy natin sa ating kliyente or principals. And lastly, of course, more importantly, to eliminate the aspect of labor-only context, no, ay dapat yung supervision and control is always present po. Very nice, no? Napakaganda po ng sinabi ni attorney. At least it gives us, ample perspective, no, on how it's done to eliminate the illegality of the exercise. So thank you, no. I think we also have another question in mind, no. Many employers, workers, and even members of the public often encounter these terms, but remains some confusion, no, about what separates one from the other. So, meaning to say, paano natin ngayon mabigyan ng mas malinaw
Mhm.
na pananaw, no, when you talk of separating, no, one exercise from the other over and above what we have already discussed and shared.
Yes. Mhm. Actually, it's very important for us to distinguish the two. On the part of the principal and on the part of the service contractor, para you know how to engage one another and what are the do's and don'ts. So for principals, if you understand that you are in a legitimate service contracting arrangement, you have to ensure that control and supervision is with your contractor. Ibig sabihin, ikaw, principal, dapat you know your boundary. Hindi ka pwedeng lalagpas doon na biglang ididisiplina mo na yung mga employees na deployed sa'yo. Kasi the moment you exercise control and supervision as a principal, it will give rise to a red flag na there's a labor-only contracting happening here, no? So, ganun kasi yun eh. Kapag, halimbawa, walang substantial capital, walang control and supervision, it will give rise to a labor contracting arrangement which is illegal. And if that happens, you become the employer. The principal becomes the employer. So, pag ganito kasing arrangement na service contracting, ang employer talaga dito is yung service contractor, yung legitimate service contractor. Pero sa principal, the moment na makalimutan niya na yung kanyang role as a principal, which is wala siyang control and supervision, tapos bigla niyang in-exercise yun, sasabihin ng dole, oh, you are engaged in labor-only contracting and therefore, ikaw ngayon ang magiging employer. So, importante yan on determining who is the employer of the employee deployed. So, if there's a legitimate service contracting arrangement, the employer is the contractor, the service contractor.
Thank you very much for that wonderful insights. I'd like to inject something lang, no. There are instances po na ang principals po ay have that tendency to encroach on that
Yes.
exercise.
Correct.
Paano po natin ma-hurdle yon? Kasi hindi po natin kaila na meron dyan mga nakasanayan ay yung makalumang pamamaraan at sila po ay, alam nyo na sila ang nagbibigay pa rin ng supervision and control.
Yes.
Ano yung parang pwede natin maibigay na advice, no, sa ating viewers on that aspect?
Well, one is it's important that you need to have a clear service agreement with the principal. So yung contractor and the principal should have a clear service agreement and nakaset out doon that control and supervision is with the service contractor. So that way, maintindihan niya na yan ang nasa kontrata natin. Ito ang malinaw na legal na contract natin and you have to follow that. And of course, for service contractors, to assure that control and supervision is maintained in your power, you need to deploy supervisors. No? So that way, the supervisors will ensure that the employees are conducting the operations, the activities, upon the supervision of the service contractor. Kasi kapag wala kang supervisors dyan, definitely the principal will step in, no? So they will overstep. So in terms of legal practices, service contractors should deploy supervisors that will ensure that the employees are monitored. And communication is very important between the principal and the service contractor. So, if there are problems, and minsan kasi may concern si principal, may problema ako dito sa employee, hindi siya performing, dapat communicate ni principal yon kay contractor, and the contractor will do the necessary disciplining mechanism on what to do. So, yung next step should come from the service contractor, not from the principal. Kasi the employee, they can only comment as much as the results of the work, no? Pero yung paano yan gagawin, anong gagawin kapag nagkamali yung employees, service contractor dapat yun.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much, attorney. No? I-point out ko lang. So, again, I'd like to share to everyone also that it is very important that our service contract that we provide to our principals, no, is well defined,
Yes.
indicating therein our responsibilities in reference to the service that we are rendering, no, making sure that they understand that we should be in control, no, we supervise and control what our people does. And to complement that, now we have to indicate that in the contract, in the same manner, there should be a deployment of a supervisor, no, that manages the activities of the different principals that we cater to. So napakaganda po yung sinabi ni attorney. It gives us now a broader glimpse that it is very important na hindi lang po tayo ay magbibigay ng ordinaryong kontrata. Dapat po ang kontrata natin ay well-defined, ang mga provisions po ay well-expounded.
Yes.
So,
So, din papasok yung trabaho ng mga lawyers, no? Kasi syempre, minsan tayo as business owners, yung mga service contractors who are also business owners, hindi nila nakikita yung mga legal repercussions ng mga stipulations in their contract. So, kailangan yung kontrata nyo, mapa-review nyo mabuti. So as to ensure that all of these things will point out to you as the service contractor, legitimate service contractor, the employer of the employee.
okay, nice, no? So there is a reiteration, no, sir? So at least it gives us a better view, no, on how to run a service contracting industry. So next question that I would like to share is that why is legitimate service contracting recognized, no, by the business and it is allowed by law, no? Bakit po natin ina-allow ito? Is there a specific information or idea that you can share to our viewers na bakit ito ina-allow? Kasi syempre dalawang sektor po yan.
Yes.
Sa kabilang sektor ay hindi pa nila nakikita ang buong sabihin natin, ibig sabihin ng service contracting.
Yes.
Kasi dito sa isang banda naman po, ina-allow ng batas eh. So, bakit po natin sasabihin na ito ay allowed? No? Can you give us an insight on that?
Well, not everyone can do everything internally, no? Tayo, yung mga principals natin, they have their core business. But of course, there are times where there are certain activities na hindi nila kayang gawin yun. So for example, in terms of janitorial services, security services, and other activities in the business, it's within the prerogative of the principal kung ano yung gusto nilang ipa-outsource. Kasi even our Supreme Court recognizes that business owners, the principals, we have the prerogative kung ano yung activities, ano yung mga functions na gusto nating i-farm out. So we can focus dun sa important ones. So minsan kasi yung mga HR-related function, hindi yan expertise ng business owner, di ba? Kung ikaw ang business mo, paggawa ng computers, paggawa ng plato, paggawa ng mga machines, syempre yung HR-related functions, hindi mo na yan core. So itong mga service contractors natin, it's their core. So they know what to do. They know how to recruit the right person. They know how to supervise those person, how to train those people. And definitely, in terms of managing the labor standards and labor relations, kabisado ng mga service contractors. So, this is something na maganda sa ganitong arrangement. And this is something why it is recognized, no? To be a legal activity because there's a management prerogative on the part of the principal and of course on the part of the service contractor. They have the capacity. They are allowed by law to do their business independently.
So, napakaganda po niyang insight na yan. No? So, ibig sabihin, hindi lang po yung labor statutes ang tinitingnan dito. Tulad ng sinabi nyo, I think ang management prerogative is protected by our constitution, no? So,
Yes.
As reference, no, sa management prerogative, tayo bilang negosyante or kayo mga service contractor, no, kayo po ay may karapatan pumili kung ano yung discretionary aspect ninyo in terms of how you run the business.
Yes.
So, in addition to that, ano, to reinforce lang what you have shared, yung mga hindi natin kaya bilang tagapangasiwa ng ating negosyo, ito ay maaaring i-farm out or
Outsource.
i-assign at i-outsource. Such being, it now helps, the business grow further because ang mga hindi natin kaya ay na-outsource tulad ng mga technology activities that we cannot do or say production of whatever. These are possible in terms of entering into an outsourcing exercise.
Yes.
So, napakaganda po no? So, sangayon dun sa senior ni attorney, it only goes to show, no, that what service contractors do is also protected by law, no? So, ibig sabihin niyan, we are allowed to do it because it is a viable exercise that helps the businesses.
Yes.
Okay, I'll jump into the next question, sir, no? So, at the center of employment arrangement, no? Paano natin napoproteksyonan naman ang general welfare ng ating mga empleyados? Kung ikaw ay service contractor, what measures do we need to do in compliance, no, with of course the mandates of the law, no?
Well, if you are a service contractor, it means you are the employer of the employee. So if you are being employed by a service contractor, then you as employee are also entitled to the same benefits provided for by law. So kung ano yung mga mandatory benefits such as 13th month pay, yung mga holiday pay, yung payment for overtime, so lahat ng nasa labor law, you are entitled to that. So hindi to ibig sabihin na pag service contractor ka, minsan kasi may mga employees ayaw nilang pumasok sa service contractor kasi feeling nila they will receive less. No? Hindi yon. Kung ano yung minimum wage na ino-impose ng batas, yun din lang din ang pwedeng, of course, na minimum wage na pwedeng ipasweldo ng service contractor. So, hindi ibig sabihin nun, you deserve less. No? So, regular employment, that's also being given by service contractors. So, the moment you meet you pass the criteria, the moment na magtagal ka na dyan, malampasan mo yung probationary contract, then you become a regular employee. And in terms of security of tenure, hindi ka rin pwedeng ma-dismiss ng basta-basta. So as service contractors, we also observe the requirements of the law for due process. So kailangan ma-notify ka, you'll be given the opportunity to answer, then you'll be notified ano ba yung reason kung bakit merong mga disciplinary action na dapat ipataw sa iyo. So all of these things are protected under the law. All of these things are being given to employees. So protected ka as an employee. Yung batas mismo nagsasabi niyan. And in terms of a violation, later on kasi minsan nagkakaroon ng violation. Minsan si principal may ginawa or kaya nagkaroon ng problema rin sa part ng service contractors. Later on, kung merong mga unpaid wages, mga separation pay, nagiging solidary yung liability ng dalawa eh. So halimbawa, hindi mabayaran ni contractor, nagkaroon siya ng problema, the principal becomes liable. So solidarily liable siya. So minsan kasi iniisip ng employee, kapag nasa service contractor ako, baka later on, hindi ko masingil yung sweldo ko. Hindi ko masingil yung aking separation pay. So, that's not the case. So, you're all entitled to it and protected ka by law.
Very, very well explained, attorney, no? Very impressive, no? So, point out lang natin, no? To highlight, no? What attorney has shared. Number one, sa protection ng welfare ng employee, no? Pasok dyan yung compliances natin po sa General Labor Standards.
Yes.
Social benefits are adhered to, pagkatapos lahat po ng mga overtime premiums and whatever premiums that they are entitled to, binibigay po ng service contractor. Yan,
Yes.
no? And they have to comply with that. Otherwise, di ba, may violation sila under the labor code. And next to that, is the aspect of due process of law.
Yes.
No? Na-highlight po natin that they are given that because kapag sila po ay nagkaroon ng violation under the principle of due process of law, no, sinasaad naman yan na sila ay binibigyan ng pagkakataon na ma-explain yung side nila bago sila bigyan ng disciplinary action. So that's very nice. Ano? So that being said, even though that they are employed in a service contractor, they are protected.
Yes.
Kasi meron tayong misconstruals na naririnig minsan na ito ay hindi na ibibigay.
Yes. And minsan nga mas maganda pa mga benefits.
Correct.
Kapag part ka ng service contractor.
Oo.
Kasi halimbawa in terms of the uniform, yung mga tools mo, yung service contractors kompleto eh. And lahat ng assistance, minsan even service, going from your employment back to your home, minsan provided din yan ng service contractors. And in terms of mga benefits, minsan it could be more than 13th month pay kaya ibigay ng mga service contractors. So kung makikita mo, it's not only beneficial to the principal, but na where they can focus dun sa core nila, but also beneficial to the employees. Kasi in terms of benefits, the service contractors can also give more. And there are times na minsan yung project o is yung deployment sa isang principal natatapos. So ikaw secured ka pa rin na meron kang susunod na employment kasi you are a regular employee of the service contractor. So the moment na mag-end, for example, yung isang project sa isang kung halimbawa construction company to, natapos yung project, hindi ibig sabihin nun tapos na rin yung trabaho mo. Pwede kang ibato sa another project and you continue your work. So yung trabaho mo, tuloy-tuloy yan siya.
Basing on your explanation, attorney, no, of course, hinging it on the principle of protection of the welfare of our employees, nandyan po, no, nakasaad sa security of tenure na ginagampanan din natin, na binibigay natin. So, I just like to emphasize the statement that it doesn't follow na pag natapos ang isang assignment mo, ikaw ay mawawalan ng trabaho. By virtue of the security of tenure, ikaw ay nililipat ng iyong employer, which is the service contractor. Pakaganda ng ating explanation dyan, no? Kasi over the years, no, na tayo ay nasa ganitong industriya, ay meron pa rin sabihin natin, no, cloudy area in terms of the misconstruance na walang security of tenure ang mga empleyados natin. Pero, in your explanation, it clearly highlights that they are protected. So, beautifully said, attorney, napakaganda po yan. At least it gives everyone who is actually viewing this episode right now, that yung ating misconception sa ibang mga partidos na naririnig natin, ano, ay nawawalan ng, sabihin natin na, hindi makatotohanang pananaw. Because tayo, no, sa industry po natin at industry ninyo, ang security of tenure ay also in place and in order. Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Ano? Ngayon, susundan ko po ng next question. No? So, can legitimate service contracting coexist with workers' rights and job security? I think it is also attached to the security of tenure. But I'd like you to emphasize more in terms of the question that is being raised.
Yes. So definitely, no, they will coexist. So the moment you become an employee of a service contractor, you're entitled to the same rights and privileges as provided for by law. So yung inyong right to security of tenure and yung mga minimum labor standards provided for by law, entitled ka dyan. And in terms of syempre, communicating with the employer, if you want to bargain, lahat yan present. So walang mawawala. So equal yan. So kaya kung matitignan mo, once you are employed to a service contractor, meron ka ring employment contract. And in that employment contract, nakastate din na ito yung mga job description mo and these are all your rights and privileges as provided for by law. So hindi yan mawawala. So the moment na may mawala dyan, then you have the right to file a complaint. You can go to DOLE, you can go to NLRC and ask for redress for any violation of law.
Okay, wonderful, no? So, ibig sabihin, no, just to expound further, no? So, it is very important that, legitimate service contractors should not be entering into any arrangement that does not require any contracts. Ang kontrata pong nasabi nyo ay kontrata natin sa ating mga principals, no? So, very important yan, as surmised earlier, na we should make sure that the service contract is in place and in order to make sure that there is legality
and
on the
siguro
engagement, di ba?
Going back to service contracts, kailangan balikan natin ano ba yung mga regulations ng DOLE. No? So halimbawa, sinabi ni DOLE na dapat ang minimum na service fee nyo ay 10%, then definitely dapat yun ang nakastipulate sa contract. Minsan kasi red flag yan kapag mayroong principal na they want to have a service fee below 10%. So, mag-ingat kayo doon. Kasi definitely, ikaw, if you're doing an independent business, talo ka doon. Diba? So, kasi service contractors are independent business owners. And anong nangyayari dyan, kapag ang principal nagtitipid, definitely, red flag yan. Diba? So, magsisimula sa pagtitipid, later on, kasunod na yan, they will control the employees. So medyo, kung ikaw, if you want to maintain your substantial capitalization, definitely that's a no. Kasi magiging daladalahin mo yan, mababawasan yung substantial capitalization mo. So, we focus doon sa mga terms and conditions, minimum terms and conditions as provided for by law. So, kung sa service fee sinabi 10%, dapat 10%.
Thank you, thank you. So, ibig sabihin nun, dapat, when we enter into service contracting, it is also allowed, no?
Yes.
It is also aligned, I should say, no, doon sa mandates of the minimal requisites sa administrative service fee,
Yes,
natin,
correct.
which is 10%. Anything lower than that, illegal na yan. So, tayo ay may violation na. So, ibig sabihin, yung negosyo papasukin mo,
It can
illegal.
affect your business.
Illegal sila pareho. Pwede ba yun?
Actually, ang long-term effect niyan, later on, ikaw, hindi mo na masusustain yung business mo.
Correct.
Kasi gano'n naman yung mga service contractors, di ba? You charge for the services. So, kung yung services mo ay nadidiminish yung kanyang value, and definitely pagdating sa finances mo later on, it can affect your business.
Yes,
So,
yung bottom line.
how can you sustain your business?
Dugtong ko lang, attorney, yung isa pertaining to the job security and also the documentation aspect, no? It is also important na bago tayo mag-employ, dapat may kontrata din ng ating mga empleyados na i-deploy sa principal. So, it's very important. Kapag wala po yan, then again, that is another red flag to indicate that, there must be some hanky-panky in your activities.
Dapat malinaw doon na you inform your employee that you are the employee of the service contractor. You will be deployed to this principal. These are your job descriptions, and you will be reporting to this supervisor. And you're considered a regular employee. So if the project finishes, you will be deployed to another one. So dapat malinaw yun.
So,
Para si employee,
Oo.
kalmado rin siya, kampante siya na I'm protected. So,
Tama.
kaya kung titignan mo, it can really coexist. Service contracting and yung rights of the labor can coexist.
Correct. So, wonderful, no? So, mag-ingat po tayo na mag-deploy ng walang kontrata. Because that in itself, the arrangement is considered as illegal or unlawful. Ano? Tama po ba?
Siyempre, kapag dating kasi later on, yan ang hinahanap documentation. Diba? Although, siyempre, ang paper naman, hindi naman ibig sabihin mo na porket walang paper, walang employer-employee relationship. As long as you retain the functions of yung recruitment, payment of wages, yung control and supervision, dismissal, kahit walang paper, considered employee ka pa rin. So, protected pa rin ng employee under the law.
Thank you, sir. No, napakaganda ng mga insights that you have been sharing, no, throughout the question and answer activities. And I'm presuming, no, that our viewers have learned a lot, no. And this is a welcome thing because it allows us to understand, especially the service contractors and people who would like to enter into this kind of business. No, alam nila ano yung mga starting point and what are the red flags and what are the things that we must do.
Yes.
So, attorney, before we conclude, we would like to hear, no, one final message from you, no. Maybe you would like to share something to our viewers, no, para maybe you would like to entice them to become a service contractor, or maybe invite them to the other business organizations that you're part of, no?
So, final message to our principals and service contractors, for your arrangement, always enter into stipulations within the bounds of the law. Kasi the moment na mag-overstep ang sino man dyan, or for example, principal mag-overstep, it can lead to a red flag and can give rise to a violation. So sa ating mga service contractors, let us be firm. Kung ano ba yung kailangan natin gawin, we maintain our substantial capitalization, we maintain the control and supervision. So we are also business owners, and as business owners, we have to determine, of course, yung autonomy natin to control how we conduct our business. And that means communicating properly to the principal that these are the do's and don'ts. So be firm. So kung merong red flag, avoid that principal, no? Kapag merong ganung mga terms na gusto nila na you go below the requirements of the law, so avoid those principles. And of course, to our employees, you are protected and you are considered employees under the service contracting arrangement. And lastly, Siyempre, we are part of the PCCI a business organization considered to be the voice of business. I would like to invite everyone to join the Metro Manila Business Conference. And this will happen on August 3 and 4, 2026 in Manila Hotel. And the theme is Navigating Energy, Trade, and Security for Resilient Business and Stronger ASEAN. So it's a good opportunity to network with more than 300 CEOs, business leaders, and of course, officers not only of PCCI but also of other business organizations. And a great opportunity to learn about important issues on energy, trade, and security that affects all businesses. Yeah.
Wonderful. So thank you very much, attorney. No, so please take note of course, the invitation of attorney. But of course, overall, let's thank. No, and I like to thank personally and also in behalf of
Thank you.
our viewers and also the members of PALSCON. No, we would like to thank you. No, from the bottom of our heart.
Thank you, Polly.
No?
Thank you, PALSCON.
No, for the beautiful insights that you've shared, no, educating us, no,
Yes.
in terms of the advantages and the beauty of service contracting as a business.
Yes.
So marami pong salamat, and we look forward to seeing you in the forthcoming MMBC
Yeah.
conference.
See you there.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much, everyone. So see you again soon. So again, let's all look forward, no, to having this business in a better approach in reference to the insights that has been shared to us by our, of course, distinguished guest, Attorney Arnel Mateo. So today's discussion, no, in closure, today's discussion reminds us that legitimate service contracting is more than a compliance framework. When properly understood and responsibly implemented, it serves as a legitimate business model that promotes compliance, protects workers, supports enterprises, and contributes to economic development. More importantly, it demonstrates that worker protection and business sustainability can move forward together through responsible practices, collaboration, and adherence to the law. So as we conclude today's episode, we leave the viewers with this important message. Now, a better understanding of legitimate service contracting allows us to move beyond misconceptions and focus on creating compliant, productive, and sustainable workplaces for each employers and workers. So thank you for joining us on PALSCON Speaks, the podcast. Before we end this episode, we would like to thank our sponsors, 7AM Production, Executive Genesis Services Incorporated, and One Source General Solutions Incorporated. Don't forget to follow PALSCON on our official social media platforms for discussions, updates, and insights on the future of work and employment in the Philippines. Until next time, marami pong salamat.
Welcome to the pulse of our industry.
PALSCON speaks.
Service contracting stories start today.
People, policy,
Practice, leading the professional way. Building the standard with every single stride. Integrity is flowing like a rising tide. We bridge the gap where the workforce meets the aim. PALSCON is the name. The leading voice for the industry's fame.
Philippine Association of Legitimate Service Contractors, the ultimate